What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Latino Slant. My name is Anthony A. Perez, and a big thanks to Paulie for inviting me on once again to talk to you guys about a new movie. Today, the film we're talking about is Song Sung Blue, which is written and directed by Craig Brewer and is based on a 2008 documentary of the same name that talks about Mike and Claire Sardina, who in this film are played by Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. They're two struggling Milwaukee performers who end up finding one another, building a romantic relationship, and starting a Neil Diamond tribute group called Lightning and Thunder, where they would go from being just a local act to actually building some regional success that would end up leading them to even opening for acts like Pearl Jam. It's a pretty heartfelt story in a lot of ways. I wasn't familiar with it going in, and it actually brought me interested to checking out the documentary it's based on. But after having seen it, I can happily say I think the cast here is great. I think Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson absolutely kill it in this film, and not only on an acting level, but also they're doing the vocal performances of these people singing a lot of classic Neil Diamond songs, which was really nice to see, really nice to hear. And I think in general, in terms of filmmaking, it's a well shot, well made film that has great performances at the center of it from not only our leads, but also the supporting cast. And I think in general, when it comes down to the sound mix for things like the musical portions of this film, it does all the right things to sound and look good. So when it comes down to the technical aspects, you have a pretty solid film here with really strong performances at the center of it. Kate Hudson has actually already been recently nominated by one of the bigger award shows for her performance in this film. So this film is probably going to get a lot of love from a lot of people as we get closer to the end of the year. Now, if I had to give any gripes I had with this film, I will say that while the film is very enjoyable and has a great story that's both inspiring, romantic, and a story of resilience through hard times, it is a film that sometimes suffers from things that we tend to see in biopics. There's a lot to jam-pack into this story within the 2-hour runtime, and while I think for the most part this film gets across what it needs to, there are portions of the film that do feel a tad rushed. There are percentages of this film that did at times make me feel like they should have spent a little bit more time on certain story beats, most notably a moment in the later part of the film where their entire life is turned upside down after a big incident happens in their life. And while I do think the film handles those moments well, I do feel like it sometimes breezes over them in a way that does take away from the impact and emotional connection. One key way where I found myself pulled out of the film a little bit is when it comes down to the kids that both of these individuals had before they built a relationship. Most notably, Kate Hudson's teen daughter, who in one scene when she first meets Hugh Jackman doesn't like him, but about 2 scenes later is now calling him Papa. All in all, the film is a really solid, but I do think some things are breezed over. But the question is, are you planning on checking out this one? Let us know in the comments.